Welcome into the Birds of the Round Table. We are finally to the regular season. I hope everybody spent some time this weekend with their family and their loved ones. I hope you hugged them. Told them you'll see them on the other side in February because we are all about Eagles regular season football. And we're here tonight. We're going to break down this Eagles matchup against the Patriots on Sunday afternoon. I am your host, Shane Haff. Give me a follow on Twitter, X, whatever we call it now, at Shane Haff NFL. I'm joined today, as always, by these three guys. Dives, give him a follow on Mr. Crockpot. Dives, how are you doing tonight?
Doing well, man. Regular season is here. A lot to talk about tonight.
All right. And also joined by David. Give him a follow at PHL Eagle News. David, how you doing tonight?
Doing great. Excited for finally watching NFL football. I'm excited to ruin Tom Brady Day in New England on Sunday and to start this Super Bowl redemption tour.
Can I just say that I want so badly for the Eagles to sign Nick Foles to a one-day contract and make him a captain and send him out for the coin toss? Like, I've wanted that to happen so bad, and I'm sure it's not going to because it's too much pandering. But if anybody would do it, it's Nick Sirianni. Yes. Also joined by Ryan. Give him a follow on Twitter at Philly Sports PSA. Ryan, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing fantastic. We have had quite an exhausting offseason filled with ups and downs. And, now for the next 23 weeks, the next 23 Sundays is ours. And we're going to talk about it every single week on this show. And I cannot wait to be talking some Eagles football with you gentlemen. This is going to be great.
It's going to be awesome. It feels like a good omen to me that my Eagles Kelly Green jersey got here today. So I can wear it during the week one game. It just feels like a good omen for the season as a whole, if I'm being honest. So.
Of course, the NFL gods and Starfield align at the same time. So they're testing me emotionally, physically, psychologically. Starfield, the huge video game, just comes out this week. But this week's all about the Birds.
But he mentioned Starfield on our Eagles podcast. So, you don't know how true that statement is. So, all right, well, let's dive into our content for tonight. We will be coming to you guys every Tuesday night during the season in this time slot, 8 o'clock. Normally, we'll be recapping the previous game. Obviously, there is no previous game this week, so we'll go a little more in-depth on our preview. But I hope you guys can slot this on your calendar, turn on notifications on YouTube, Twitter, wherever you're watching the show, and make sure you get all of these episodes. So we're going to start off. Ryan, I'll throw this one to you first. What is your confidence level? Just 0 to 10. What's your confidence level heading into week one?
Am I capped at a 10? Is that what you're telling me?
Yeah, don't be the guy that says 0 to 10 and gives an 11. That annoys the crap.
I just wanted to make sure I
110%.
Listen, unlike certain people on this panel, I like to stay on the rules.
Why are you pointing at me? I stay on the rules.
I'm at a 10, honestly. I am so excited for this season after coming off the amazing season that was last year. Obviously, there's a lot to live up to, and I don't fully expect that to happen. Not necessarily saying they couldn't easily make it to the Super Bowl or win it. I'm just very excited. It's going to be a little tougher of a season, but coming into week one, Patriots. We had an amazing offseason, I thought. Drafted so well. Howie killed it. And listen, I am loving this team right now. And honestly, sky's the limit. I'm at a 10. We are actually absolutely going to ruin Tom Brady Day. And I hope he cries and goes back to his empty, humongous mansion and realizes, listen, he'll never beat Nick Foles. And he'll always have that. So.
It would be epic. So, all right, we've got a 10 from Ryan. David, where are you at? Scale of 1 to 10 heading into week one.
I feel like I'm bringing the show down now, but I guess I'm at like an 8, which I thought was pretty high. But after Ryan's exuberance, but I guess I have a little trepidation because the Eagles are one of 10 or 12 teams, I can't remember which, that didn't even play their quarterback all preseason. There could be a little bit of rust. There are 2 new coordinators that we've never seen in real game action before. So I would say there's a little trepidation, but I still think it's, everything that Ryan just said, I would echo. Great offseason, great draft, great free agent pickups. But I do think they could start off a little rusty in the first quarter. But an 8 I thought was great, but it's not as great as Ryan's 10.
All right. So David gives it an 8. Dibes, where are you at? You're the guy that's going to say 11, aren't you?
No, I'm right there at a 9. I look at Mac Jones. That's a huge question mark for the Patriots. I look at this Eagles offense. I don't expect them to miss a beat. From everything we have heard and read with AJ Brown and these playmakers, Devontae Smith taking that next step this year. There's a lot to be really excited about. The questions kind of come in, like David said, the coordinators and that, N'Kobe Dean, the young guys on this defense. But these guys are Georgia players. I don't really expect that much growing pain. So for me, it's a solid 9. And I think the Eagles win by a touchdown here. We'll get to predictions later, but very confident.
All right. Got comments rolling in here from YouTube and Facebook, Twitter. If you guys are watching, be sure you drop us some comments here. We love to throw those up on the screen. We've got Patrick on Facebook says, "What's up, fellas? Can't wait for Sunday." By the way, Edge Philly Sports halftime post-game shows on Sunday. Be sure you check those out. However, my scary part about Sunday is that Bill Belichick, I'm assuming that was probably an emoji, but is the mastermind. Will find a way to pick apart this defense. And we're going to get into some of that here as we go. David, I'm going to steal your title. I'll be the downer because I was just at a 7. And it's in my notes. I can show you guys later. I'm not just making this up to one up David, but I said it was a 7. I'm really confident in this team. But like David mentioned, 9 of your 11 starters on offense played 0 snaps in the preseason. So I could see a little bit of a slow start with the lack of preseason reps. You've got new play callers on both sides of the ball, 5 new starters on the defense. And like Patrick said on Facebook, Bill Belichick is the mastermind defensive guy. Like his defense might not be like the best in the league. He doesn't have the best talent in the league, but he's a guy that can figure out what you want to do and take it away. Now, I don't know what that thing is you isolate for the Eagles, but he's a really good defensive coordinator. He's good at coming up with those game plans. And so I could see the Eagles starting sloppy. I mean, kind of like they did last year. Let's not forget they were in a barn burner with the Lions, who at one point were like 2-7 last year. And so I think it'll be a little bit of a slower start than people think, but I still feel really confident in this team as a whole.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I think we're going to see a huge rotation on the defensive line. Milton Williams, I think, are going to get a lot of snaps. Kenny Gainwell is going to get a lot of snaps. We're going to see a huge balance at running back as well. I think that's how they're going to live these next few weeks. I mean, they play Sunday, but then they got a quick turnaround on Thursday night here too. So a lot of these guys haven't played, any major minutes or major snaps here. So that's what I expect.
Yeah, if there was ever a game you could get a 4-score lead in the fourth quarter and pull people out, this would be a great game with that week 1 going into a Thursday night. But
let's see the Eagles dominate in the second quarter, just like they did in 2022, and put this game away in that third, and we can just rest that fourth quarter like Shane said.
All right, so there it is. That's our I guess our heat check, our confidence level going into week 1. We had going around the horn here. Ryan was a 10, David an 8, Dibes a 9. I was the nervous Nelly with a 7. I guess you guys drop your scores here in the comments for us. We're going to transition to our next segment here. We're going to give you guys the top matchups to watch on Sunday between the Eagles and the Patriots. All right, key matchups to watch on Sunday. David, I'm going to throw it to you first this time. Give us your key matchup to watch.
I went with the New England tight ends and running backs versus the Eagles linebackers. I think what somebody just posted earlier about what Belichick does as far as trying to exploit weaknesses, I think that's one of the most unproven parts of the defense, with basically a rookie in N'Kobe Dean he didn't play any last year, Cunningham, who was a guy who was just on the street a few weeks ago. They don't tackle in practice. So neither of them had a whole lot of game experience during the preseason. So I think that's an area that could be exploited. And I think that they will try to do that, as well as testing the safeties with Edmonds and Breed back there as well.
All right. Yeah, the Eagles linebacker is definitely a spot that you could be a little bit concerned about in this defense. Hopefully, especially Nakobe Dean shows up early and can alleviate a lot of those fears for people. But certainly the spine of that defense, the linebackers and safeties, is going to be something to watch. So, Dibes, I'll throw it to you next. Give me your top matchup to watch for the Eagles-Patriots.
Yeah, I'm really interested in how the Patriots defensive backs handle the Eagles wide receivers, or more so the playmakers. You guys know I'm a draft guy, so I'm really excited to see Christian Gonzalez out there for the Patriots. He wasn't my number one cornerback in the draft. That nod did go to Devin Witherspoon, but Christian Gonzalez is a really interesting guy. And holy cow, welcome to the NFL, Christian Gonzalez, because he's going to be tested with the best duo wide receivers. I mean, you can say best trio of playmakers in the NFL. You look at Goddard and Brown and Devontae, 238 catches, over 3,000 yards, 21 touchdowns in 2022. Everything we've heard, they're going to be better in 2023. You look at this New England secondary, it's interesting. And I think it truly is contingent upon just how good Christian Gonzalez is and how he looks year one. I was a big fan of him in the draft. But let's be real, he's an uber raw prospect with elite traits. My gut says Bill Belichick's going to mold him into a highly productive starter. My gut also tells me that Gonzalez is probably going to need time to adjust to the speed of the NFL and could probably struggle the first 6 to 8 weeks of the season. And the Patriots secondary was kind of a difficult group to grade. I know, Shane, you're way better at it than I am. But when I deep dive into this, on one hand, the Patriots ranked second best in pass defense DVOA last year. But on the other end, no NFL offense was truly scared of them. Opponents threw the ball 10 or more yards downfield on the Patriots 12.8 times per game last year. That was the second highest rate in the NFL. I expect that number to continue in week one. We've heard Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown being on the same page. I expect Jalen Hurts to expose this Patriots secondary. That's my matchup to watch.
All right. By the way, any ranking that did not have Gonzalez as CB1 in the draft, that's just a shame, Dibes.
I was right.
Well, we'll see. But yeah, no, I think I had Witherspoon and Gonzalez. I might have even had him back to back at 8-9 overall, but I did have Gonzalez in that CB1 spot. Matchup to watch: Eagles fans versus Tom Brady. Absolutely. You can bet that there's going to be a lot of booing going on during that. My top matchup to watch is the Ringer's Steven Ruiz versus Eagles fans on Twitter. He comes out with his incentive. No, we won't go into that again. My real top matchup to watch is the Patriots edge rusher duo of Matthew Judon and Josh Uche versus Jordan Mailata and Lane Johnson. And real quick, I've got to pull this graphic down because I got to see your faces when we play a game of Guess That Stat. So,
oh God,
the Patriots had 54 sacks last year, which ranked third in the NFL. Okay, the Chiefs had one more at 55. Obviously, the Eagles had 70. So 54 sacks, third in the NFL. Where do you think they ranked in pass rush win rate? If you were guessing.
Let's say 15th.
25th.
25th. They
15th.
were 29th in pass rush win rate. So third most sacks, fourth worst pass rush win rate at 33%. So how? Well, Matthew Judon led the NFL in sacks on scrambles last year, and Josh Uche was tied for fifth in sacks on scrambles. And so they didn't necessarily get these instant wins, but they're really good at containing quarterbacks when they try muddying the pocket and getting them when they try to escape. And that's going to be huge. Jalen Hurts had a tendency at times last year to get out of pockets that he might should have stayed in. And it generally worked, but the Patriots, more than any other team, can punish that because of the duo of outside linebackers they have in Matthew Judon and Josh Uche. So that's one of the big things for me to watch is how they choose to play Hurts, and if Hurts is willing to stay in that pocket, especially, like we mentioned, this isn't week 8. He hasn't had bodies flying around him for 2 months and getting back used to it. This is the first time we're getting back in the saddle. So that's a big thing, I think, to watch on Sunday.
Great stuff.
All right, and now I'll throw it over to Ryan. Ryan, give me your top matchup to watch in this game.
All right, so I'm kind of piggybacking a little bit off of David. I am going with the Eagles linebackers versus the Patriots running backs. I'm very, very interested in seeing how, especially the linebackers, how they do against those running backs. The defensive line, the interior defensive line. I want to see what our run defense looks like. I'm really, really, really interested in seeing how it all shakes up because, again, we lose Hargrave. We don't have Sue and a couple of the other guys that we brought in specifically for this run game. Another year of Jordan Davis, again, expected to be, used a lot more. How does this shake out for the Eagles? Is the run defense going to be an issue as it was early on in the last season? So, and I think the linebackers are really going to help with that. So, linebackers, interior defensive line. What are these running backs? Ramondre Stevenson, great second-year running back. They brought in Zeke, who's certainly going to, bring a veteran presence, certainly be, probably a third down goal line type of guy. Let's see how they match up against two pretty good running backs for the Patriots.
All right, so some good matchups to watch there. We had a pretty even split. Dibes and I went offense. You guys went defense. So look at that. We didn't even plan that. Does anybody else have any other matchup that they just want to shout out before we move on to our next segment?
Nakobe Dean versus expectations.
Damn.
We're probably going to talk about him pretty soon.
Yeah.
But holy cow. This is his first big test, and I can't wait to see what happens.
Not gonna lie,
I'm curious to see what Mac Jones has done. Has he progressed with Bill O'Brien? Because the Patriots had no identity with their offensive coordinator last year. He brings stability. He brings a professionalism. They've just been a mess. So I am curious to see if he has been able to enhance his skill set, enhance the players around him, because he brought in some veterans, like you had mentioned, with Zeke to try to take some of the pressure off. And I'm very curious to see that because the Pats had a really good defense last year. I think they were 10th in points allowed. I think they gave up like 20 points a game last year. So if they could get anything going from the offensive side, because they only averaged like 20 points a game as well. So I'm really curious. I think a lot of it will come down to what Bill O'Brien's able to do.
Yeah, it's just blows my mind that when a special teams coach is running your offense, it's just bad and doesn't have an identity. So rest in peace, Joe Judge and Matt Patricia as offensive coordinators. But another one that I think is really interesting to keep an eye on is, and this is a Dibes answer because it's not players on the field, but it's Bill Belichick against Brian Johnson, the Eagles' new offensive coordinator. We don't know how Johnson's going to be as a play caller. He hasn't done it at all in the NFL. He didn't do it a lot at the collegiate level. He did a little bit. And, people say this is Nick Sirianni's offense, and that's true. But there's still – you have to have a feel for how to sequence those plays. And Shane Steichen was great. He had a great feel for calling plays on game day. It doesn't matter how good your plan is if you just don't call the right plays at the right time. And so can they get the plays in quickly? Does it disrupt the rhythm? Is he able to find that pulse of the offense really quick? And I mentioned earlier, but nobody's better at constructing a single game plan to beat you than Bill Belichick. Last year, the Patriots only blitzed on 19% of their snaps, which was 26th in the NFL. And they actually rushed 3 at the highest rate in the NFL at 14%. But the Eagles struggled against the blitz last year. Like, if there's a weakness in the Eagles offense, it was that. And so I would expect Belichick to smash the blitz button early and make the Eagles prove they have answers. And so how's Brian Johnson going to react to that? That's a big thing, I think, to keep an eye on. Okay. Anybody else have one that they want to throw out?
No.
All right. Well, let's go to the most underrated player to watch. We've talked big matchups. Dives, give me your underrated player to watch on Sunday.
No question. It's a guy I've been talking about for months. It's Nakobe Dean. You look at, this guy as arguably the biggest breakout candidate of 2023. Can he hold up? Can he kind of help this Eagles run defense, which struggled for portions of time during the 2022 season? I think the Patriots are banking on a productive run game against the Philadelphia Eagles. Stevenson, Elliott, and if there's any kind of concern, that's where possibly the Eagles could struggle. So how will Nakobe Dean hold up in his first big test? The Patriots are a squad that finished with the 9th fewest rushing yards per game in 2022. We'll see how it goes, but I'm not worried about the Patriots playmakers. It's all about their run game versus Nakobe Dean and the Eagles linebackers and, time of possession. As we know, the Eagles were elite in that area in 2023. I want to see how this defense keeps the Patriots offense off the field, starting with that Patriots rushing attack.
All right, so Nakobe Dean. See, I wasn't sure which way to go with that because, I thought of Nakobe Dean, but I was like, is he underrated? I didn't know. I don't know what the rules are for this, but I'll just assume that Nakobe Dean's not underrated, and Dives broke the rules again. So, Cam Jurgens, Ryan's pointing down at the screen. Ryan, is Cam Jurgens your guy?
Yeah, he certainly is. Thanks, Davey, for stealing my thunder there, buddy.
I hate to tell you, but you got to pick somebody else now. Davey already took that.
Davey stole it, man. No, seriously, this is Cam Jurgens' coming out party, man. We have been waiting on this guy. We've only seen him in so few little flashes here. The heir apparent to the greatest center the Eagles, in Eagles history. And listen, he's playing right guard. He's replacing Isaac Seumalo, who was the king of being underrated on that offensive line. I mean, you had such names on that offensive line, you just forgot about Seumalo. And all those names are still there. He's in between Kelsey and Lane Johnson, and you got the two young guys and Dickerson and Mailata. So Jurgens is coming in here, filling a very important role here. And listen, I want to see how this guy steps up. Is this line going to continue to be the best line in football and protect Jalen Hurts and let that running game run wild? And listen, all indicators are that Cam Jurgens is going to just fly along just like it always has. And we don't have to worry about it, but I need to see it. I need to see a couple of games here. So I'm going to be watching Cam Jurgens pretty much solely on that offensive line to see how he's going to hold up. And listen, I have all the confidence in the world that he will do a fantastic job on Sunday.
All right, so we've got a Nakobe Dean, we've got a Cam Jurgens. David, are you going on the offense or the defense here?
I'm going on the defense now. Cam was my guy as well. I wrote down two of them, but I've been on Team Cam all off season, so I think he's going to do fine. But the second guy I have is when the Eagles released their not the roster, the starting lineup, I guess was released today, whatever their depth chart, and it looked like that they have Terrell Edmonds as one of the starting safeties. So I think that immediately puts him in a position where he's going to have to really step up. They're going to come after him in the run game and the pass game. He was used a lot as like a linebacker where he comes in the box a lot of times as well. But I think he's going to end up having to be an important player if he's in fact starting against Reed. I went back and watched some of the game that he did against New England last year when he was with the Steelers. He had 4 tackles and 1 pass defense. They tried him deep a couple times, but he did play around the line a lot. So I expect the Eagles will be utilizing him in the same way. But I do think he becomes an important player for many of the same reasons Dobbs mentioned Nakobe Dean, because he's going to be challenged early and often.
All right. So I'm going to go maybe way off here. I might have taken the underrated player part way too far, but my guy was Albert O. Hasn't been with the team long. The Patriots only ran base defense on 7% of their snaps last year. They almost led the league in dime personnel usage. They used a lot of nickel. They like to put linebackers or safeties in the box as linebackers. So are the Eagles comfortable enough with Alberto to get in 12 personnel? Can he add enough as a blocker that you can get in 12 personnel and you can force the Patriots into something they don't want to do, which is play base defense and play heavy boxes? The Patriots use a lot of light boxes. And, can you force them into the personnel that you want and then dictate what the defense does? Because Belichick, like I said, he's going to come in with a plan, and he's going to come in with a plan, I think, to blitz. I think he's going to come in with a plan to keep two guys over the top, stay on top of A.J. Brown. And if you can force them out of that, if you can force them into personnel they don't want to use and into heavy boxes and really open up that deep passing game, that's what I'm looking for. And so he may play 2 snaps on Sunday because the Eagles may not agree, or maybe he just doesn't look that good yet. And you can do this with Jack Stoll, certainly, although he's not really the receiving threat that Alberto is. But do you need the receiving threat when you've got A.J. Brown, Devonta Smith, you've got DeAndre Swift, and you've got Dallas Goedert? But I do think you might see the Eagles in a little more 12 personnel than you might expect on Sunday.
Love it.
All right.
I'd like to see Ryan give Jack Stoll love again, like he did last week. I know that's your guy.
I agree.
It's Ryan's favorite guy.
He's mentioned it many
I'd
times.
almost be a little surprised if Albert was even active this week. I just don't know that he's got the time with him. But
Yeah.
I agree with everything Shane said, but I had written down that I originally had him as probably one of the guys listed to be inactive because I just don't know that he's got the work in to get the confidence to even be on the field yet.
Yeah, I mean,
and that's certainly possible too. In which case, I'll pivot to my other answer was Jordan Davis. So, I want to see what Jordan Davis is. 1st-round pick last year, the Eagles traded up for it. The Eagles took him over Kyle Hamilton, who I called the best defensive prospect I'd ever evaluated, who had an incredible rookie season at safety. And meanwhile, Jordan Davis was hurt, and so. You guys have talked about Ramondre Stevenson. They got Ezekiel Elliott. They've got a very good rushing attack. Controlling that point of attack is going to be vital, and that starts up front in the trenches, especially with a light linebacker like Nakobe Dean and a run defense that wasn't that good last year. So that's also a good one to keep an eye on.
Yeah, agreed.
Definitely.
All right, so that is our underrated players to watch. Now let's transition to our player of the game and our score predictions. All right, Eagles player of the game predictions and score predictions. We do have a rule that we're not allowed to repeat player of the game predictions. And so in the spirit of fairness, we're going to throw this wheel of names up here that Dibe's already rigged to give himself the first pick. And we're going to spin the wheel. We're going to spin the wheel to see who gets their first crack at player of the game.
Let's call this the Jalen Hurts wheel.
Good luck, everybody.
Oh, look. We're all surprised that Dibes gets the first pick like he always does.
Oh, yeah.
That's shocking. Dibes, tell us why Jalen Hurts is your player of the game prediction.
Because I'm never betting against him ever again. I did it. I looked like an idiot a couple years ago. He made leaps and bounds during last season. For me, it's got to be Jalen Hurts continuing that MVP season. I do think he's going to be the MVP this year. I think he's going to be even better. We had Ray Didinger on last week on Edge of Philly Sports, and he was like, he got asked, what do you expect from Jalen Hurts? And he said he will be better. So there's Jalen Hurts is just a different kind of dude, man. And I expect him to just continue to push the Eagles forward to a Super Bowl. So Jalen Hurts is my player of the game. What a layup. That's funny.
What a layup. I'll stop you before we do your score. Actually, are we doing all the score predictions, or is that like...
I'll do score predictions now. Let's do both.
Hold on. I'm going to stop you first. We got a comment here from Wealthy Mind on YouTube. Said, glad I stumbled on this channel, fellas. YouTube put this on my home feed. great content. The YouTube algorithm working wonders.
Yes.
Both of mine, smash that subscribe button. We will be live every Tuesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern, breaking down the games. There's all kinds of other podcasts that come out on the feed too. So if you like this, you'll love everything else on the channel. Smash that subscribe button. All right, Dibes, give us your score prediction.
I'm going to go Eagles with the W here. I'll go 28, Eagles 28. I'll go Patriots 17. I think that's a safe bet, and I think the Eagles could easily go over that number. I think the Eagles roll this. The Eagles have, although they do have new coordinators, they do have a good history with their play style against quarterbacks that can make one-dimensional. I don't think Mac Jones has any chance against this Eagles pass rush. Jalen Carter is the real deal, as we will see in week 1. So 28-17, Eagles get the W.
Yeah, speaking of the pass rush, we didn't even mention that Riley Reif is on IR now, and so City Sal is going to be starting at right tackle. And for those of you checking, he was a day 3 rookie, so that's what's going to be going up against Josh Sweat. Hassan Reddick, that's Hassan Reddick's side. That's who's going to be trying to block Hassan Reddick on Sunday. So, all right, let's throw our wheel of Dibes rigging up here again and see who gets the second pick.
Good luck, guys.
It always gets me because on my screen it'll lag just a bit and I'll think it's stopping and then it jumps again. So David, you are the lucky try to pick someone that can beat Jalen Hurts for player of the game guy. Who's your pick?
Probably nobody y'all had, but I went with DeAndre Swift. And the reason is because I know we have a new coordinator in Brian Johnson, but he has known Hurts since birth. I don't think understanding his rhythm or cadence of the game is going to be much of a problem. And he does have a little history that he showed in college that he does like getting the balls to the running backs a little bit, way more than we've seen the past couple of years. So I actually went with DeAndre Swift getting 105 all-purpose yards and 2 touchdowns. I don't know if that'll be good enough to knock off Jalen Hurts, but it's the best shot I can give. And my score, like we mentioned earlier, I do still think that the beginning of the game is probably going to be a little rusty. I mean, I hope not, but the starters just haven't put in the time. And I went with the same thing Shane mentioned about last year's first game of the season versus the Lions. It was kind of tight. It was kind of close. And so I went with just a 7-point win, 26-19 Eagles.
All right, 26-19 Eagles. Right. So Dibes, throw that wheel back up here. Let's see who gets third and who gets last between me and Ryan.
Shane.
All right. Give it to me. Let's go. I just talked myself into this one a minute ago, but give me Hassan Reddick rushing against City Sal. Hassan Reddick. I don't know that 100-yard 2-touchdown performance from one of the receivers beats out the guy throwing him the ball. That's always the hard thing about taking a receiver. But if Hassan Reddick goes and gets 2.5 sacks, forces a fumble, we gotta give some love to defensive players here. So give me Hassan Reddick for my player of the game prediction. As for my score, I went 31-21 Eagles. Like I said, I think the Eagles win the game. I think it looks a little sloppy at times. I think you're going to see some rust from lack of reps for starters. I think you might see some issues in getting plays in, that sort of thing, as both coordinators, Sean Desai and Brian Johnson, sort of get their feet under him. But at the end of the day, the Eagles out-talent the Patriots by just so much. So Eagles 31-21. All right, Ryan, that leaves you. Which receiver are you taking here?
Well, yeah, because that's the only thing I got left. I'm going Devontae Smith, baby. It is Devontae's season. I'm telling you, watch out for this guy. I took a very early over-under. I think it was like 925.5 yards for his season. I freaking hammered that thing. But yeah, listen, you're right. It is hard for a receiver to outshine a quarterback. But listen, I really am kind of at the bottom of the barrel here with everybody taking it all. I was looking at Swift. I get that, and then I was like, oh, maybe I'll look at Reddick. Nope, Reddick gets swiped. So, I'm just going with Smith, going with my gut here, and I'm going to go score. I'm going to go 34-23 Eagles. I think. Listen, they started off a little slow last year, but what happened was they figured it out and they ended up scoring quite a lot of points. Though I don't think the Patriots quite have the offense like the Lions did last year, and I don't think the rust is going to be as extreme as it kind of was maybe last year. So I am going 34-23 in a nice, comfortable victory for them Birds.
All right. So, Dibes, did you recorded all the scores and the player of the games?
Yes, sir. Ready to go.
Oh.
All right. So, how are we gonna track like winners for this throughout the season?
I don't know. We'll figure it out. We'll probably do a lot of polls. We'll put it on YouTube. Fans will vote for their players of the weeks and we'll put their stats with it so they can decide as well. And we can always provide our input. So we'll do it by points. If you're
3,
like
2, 1, 0.
Exactly.
All right, perfect. Are we like tracking who's closest on the scores, or
Absolutely.
Price is Right thing you can't go over?
Yep. And we're gonna have a giant scoreboard. Yep.
34-21 here from Davey that I may or may not have just put up to cover up Ryan, but we'll take it down, Ryan.
Appreciate it, buddy.
All right. Well, that is going to about wrap up this preview for week 1. Again, normally these shows will be a little bit longer because next week we will be recapping week 1, previewing week 2. But you guys check in here every Tuesday night at 8 o'clock. Before we get out of here, does anybody have anything they want to throw out about this matchup they didn't get to?
No.
Okay.
No.
All right. So, Ryan, I'm going to throw it to you. Yeah. Ryan, I'm going to throw it to you here. Any final thoughts? Oh, that's how I usually do this. Any final thoughts? Plug your stuff. Where can the people find you?
Yeah. God bless. Football is back, baby. I am so excited about this. And listen, Sunday can't come soon enough. Thursday can't come soon enough. I can't wait to watch that game. But listen, Eagles football is back. Next 23 weeks are ours. And you need to keep it locked into this show every Tuesday night at 8 o'clock. You can check me everywhere on socials, right here on Twitter /X for all important things going on in the world of Philly sports. Facebook, YouTube, the whole 9 yards. I even have a TikTok technically, but I'm too old to really know how it works. But that's why is Facebook. Put on the automatic notifications. That way you get all of the Philly Sports Alliance shows. Then you also get all of Edge of Philly Sports shows coming through. So it's just a constant stream of live shows coming at you throughout the week. Also I will say, shout out to everybody here, to Shane, to David, to Dibes. Honestly, if you guys aren't following those guys, you're not an Eagles fan because these guys put it out there every single day, constant content. And honestly, I learned so much from these gentlemen. I am grateful to be a part of this, and we appreciate all of our loyal fans who check in all the time. So thank you very much. I appreciate it, and I can't wait for another season with you boys.
It's going to be awesome. All right. Thanks, Ryan. David, final thoughts. Plug your stuff. Where can the people find you?
I got a new piece coming out either tomorrow or Thursday about Fletch, BG, Lane, and Kelsey, the core 4. I've been writing it for a while. I'm pretty excited to get that out there. Hopefully they can end it in the way they should, but they can check that out at phillycovercorner.com. The only other final thoughts I had was how I think the Eagles had 9 team captains that they released today. The names just kept coming out when they kept bringing them out. And I thought it was interesting that after the, I guess, fake controversy in regards to who's wide receiver 1 on the team, AJ said that, everybody should root for him and Devontae and that they shouldn't pick or choose sides. I found it interesting that the Eagles went and named 2 people in the wide receiver room, a team captain, both Smitty and AJ, get the nod there. So the team didn't want to jump in and choose one or the other either. So I just found that pretty interesting. But aside from that, I'm just looking forward to the game this Sunday and appreciate all of y'all's insight this week as well.
All right. Thanks, David. Dibes, the floor is yours. Plug your stuff. Tell the people what you've got going on, where they can find you.
Obviously, college football. football, if you love the NFL draft, we do multiple shows a week. I put out multiple shorts every week on biggest winners, highlight reels, all that kind of stuff. So if you love the NFL draft, this is the place to be. Tomorrow for Party on Broad, we'll be again previewing Eagles versus Patriots top matchups. That'll be at 6 o'clock on Wednesday. For Eagles Sunday, we'll be doing a pregame, halftime live with my man Shane right there. And then postgame, we've got a celebrity guest joining postgame this week, Phil Stifle, my man from Philly Sports Network. Such a good dude. So we'll have kind of guests coming in here and there for postgames as well. So, all Eagles all the time. Like Ryan said, man, we'll have tons and tons of videos, insights, video analysis, shorts, you name it, of every single game. This is the season where I get nervous about getting divorced because I watch every game at least 3 times, every Eagles game. So it's going to be a grind, but there's nothing better, man. Go Birds.
All right. Thanks, Dibes. Comment here from Wealthy Mind. Asked, do you guys all have your own channel as well? So this is actually a roundtable podcast, and we all sort of come from different places. So I have a YouTube at Shane Half NFL and my own podcast, Chalk Talk, that covers the whole NFL. Dibes and Ryan, they do Party on Broad together. They do a lot of draft stuff. Ryan's also from Philly Sports Alliance, which is primarily on Facebook. They're also on Twitter. David's primarily a writer for PhillyCoverCorner.com. We tricked him into coming on podcasts with us. I think we made him think he was going to write or something. But check out everybody's work. Dibes and I are with Edge of Philly Sports. You can check that out. EOP Sports, Edge of Philly Sports YouTube channel and Twitter. Check out Ryan's stuff primarily on Facebook, but also on Twitter at Philly Sports PSA. David's stuff at Philly Cover Corner. But all of us except for David are on different podcasts as well. So check out all of those. This was kind of our roundtable collaboration to cross promote. And we just decided, hey, we kind of like talking Eagles with each other every week. So all that said, be sure you follow these guys. All their stuff's awesome. Like I've said a couple times tonight, we'll be live every Tuesday night at 8 o'clock. There will be pre-halftime and post-game shows on the Edge of Philly Sports page. I'll have stuff. I'll be on post-game for Bleeding Nation. Ryan and Dibes are doing draft coverage. Me and Dibes are doing draft coverage. I'm about to go record an NFL show. Well, not record, live stream an NFL show. Lots of stuff going on. We're going to try to keep all the plates spinning, but you guys be sure and check it all out. Turn on notifications, smash that subscribe button so you don't miss any episode, and we will catch you guys next week on Birds of the Round Table.